Well, it is crunch time at our state capitol right now as it's committee deadline day, when lawmakers decide which bills keep going and which ones fall by the wayside with the thousands of other would-be wannabe laws. That's why we found lawmakers still at work late on a Friday afternoon, hearing bills that still haven't gotten a final thumbs up or thumbs down for this session. For some people, this may come across as just inside baseball, but John Kroyman joins us on the show with more insight on why this is such a critical day in your people's house. Hi, John.
Hey, Jana, you know, they keep a running tally here of the bill introductions in this two-year cycle, and it's a two-year cycle because the bills they introduced last year are still live this year. So the tally right now, 5,175 bills in the Senate, 5,139 bills in the House. One of the ways they weed them out is by setting hard deadlines, and that's what we saw today. To the untrained eye, a mellow March day at the center of Minnesota government. Bronze monuments standing guard as time slowly drips away.
We're going to take up Senate File 3530, Senator Gustafson.
But for those with bills in the hopper, a critical day that could make or break the legislation they brought to the table.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
There are more than 10,000 bills in this two-year legislative cycle, and today's the deadline to pass bills through all the policy committees.
So that is to say that a bill that is just policy must get through both bodies, through all the policy committees by today.
Even Senate President Bobby Joe Champion had to wait his turn
All these things.
as the Senate Judiciary Committee tried to plow through 38 bill hearings in one day.
But you have standing committees, and bills have different components that are judiciary components to it and state government components to it or health and human service components to it. So each of those committees have to hear it in order to hear and react to their jurisdiction.
A paper-pushing parade if ever there was one, because the law requires printed copies as well as electronic ones.
Members, if you have extra paper that you'd like to remove from your possession right now, if you get up, leave it on your chair, and staff will pick up the paper and recycle it.
Behind the paper, stories about people.
Had that pistol been properly stored, it's quite likely that my daughter would still be alive.
Bills ranging from safe storage of guns to keeping families together.
The purpose of this bill is to keep African American families in Minnesota intact when they encounter child protection services.
Senator Champions had bills that didn't make it, and as a committee chair, he's had to say, not this year.
I'm sorry. That's what we say about everything, right? I'm sorry. But the deadlines are the deadlines, and if you don't have a legitimate reason as to why this bill should be given special consideration and able to move forward outside the deadlines, there's nothing that I can do, but better luck next year.
But as Champion points out, a lot of those bills that fall by the wayside are more about starting a conversation.
You know, it's rare that a bill comes in for the very first time and is introduced and get through the process and all of a sudden it turns into law, unless there's some extraordinary circumstances. But you probably know that a number of the ideas that we finally get across the finish line has been germinating and making its way through our process for quite some time.
Now, Senator Champion said that April 19th is imprinted on his brain because that's the deadline for bills that have money in them, that they're spending money. So he's got that one. You know, the bills that don't make it, miss the deadline, can kind of be revived by the Rules Committee, but the Rules Committee, Jana, can be a really tough audience.
So true. You know it better than anyone here at KARE 11, John. Things like legalizing gambling, marijuana. We've heard those bills over and over and over and over again for, it seems, over a decade. It takes time.
That's right. It takes time. And then there's circulation. There's rotation among legislators. New people come who haven't heard the bills, don't know the specifics or, you know, the details of the background. So they got to hear all that information again.